Page 8. Letter from a child. Dear Papa, Mummy, I request you, 1. Don't spoil me. I know quite well I ought not to have all I ask for. I'm only testing you. 2. Don't be afraid to be firm with me. I prefer it. It makes me feel more secure. 3. Don't let me form bad habits. I have to rely on you to detect them in the early stages. 4. Don't make me feel smaller than I am. It only makes me behave stupidly big. 5. Don't correct me in front of people if you can help it. I'll take much more notice if you talk to me quietly in private. 6. Don't protect me from the consequences. I need to learn the painful way sometimes. 7. Don't make me feel that my mistakes are sins. 8. Don't be upset when I say I hate you. It isn't that I hate you, but your power to thwart me. 9. Don't nag. If you do, I shall have to protect myself by appearing deaf. 10. Don't tax my honesty too much. I'm easily frightened into telling lies. Page 9. Letter from a child continued. 11. Don't make rash promises. Remember that I feel badly let down when promises are broken. 12. Don't forget that I cannot explain myself as nicely as I should. That's why I'm not always very accurate. 13. Don't be inconsistent. It completely confuses me and makes me lose my faith in you. 14. Don't push me off when I ask questions. If you do, you will find that I stop asking and seek my information elsewhere. 15. Don't tell me my fears are silly. They are terribly real and you can do much to reassure me if you try. 16. Don't ever think it is beneath your dignity to apologize to me. An honest apology makes me surprisingly warm towards you. 17. Don't ever suggest that you are perfect or infallible. It gives me too great a shock when I discover that you are neither. 18. Don't forget, I love experimenting. I couldn't get on without it, so please put up with it. 19. Don't forget how I'm growing up. It must be very difficult for you to keep pace with me, but please try. And lastly, 20. Don't forget that I can't thrive without lots of understanding and lots of love. Dear Papa, Mummy, with tons of love from a loving child. Page 10. Let us be a parent, not an instructor. An instructor drives the child, the parent inspires the child. An instructor depends on authority, the parent on goodwill. An instructor evokes fear, the parent radiates love. An instructor says I, the parent says we. An instructor shows who is wrong, the parent shows what is wrong. An instructor abuses, the parent blesses the child. An instructor demands respect, the parent teaches to respect. An instructor makes work tough. The parent makes it easy. An instructor orders to work. The parent says, let us work. Now let us examine, are we parents or instructors? Page 11. Judge ourselves. We judge ourselves by what we feel capable of doing. Let us judge by what we have already done. Let us judge ourselves by our actions, not by our intentions. We may have a heart of gold, but of no use without action. Success. Success doesn't come to us, we go to it. It's the constant and determined efforts that break down all resistance and sweep away all obstacles. Most people give up just when they are about to achieve success. People quit on the 1-yard line. Success is doing the best we can and with the maximum use of the ability that we have. The greatest thing we can do in this world is to make the most possible out of the stuff that has been given to us. This is success. Page 12. Having a bad day. On a cold, rainy day, a young man was sitting at a bar, staring into his untouched drink. He sat for about an hour quietly. In the meantime, a huge, rough-looking man walked up to his table threateningly, picked up the drink the young man had ordered, and drank it. The young man started crying. The rough person was not expecting this reaction and said, "Hey, come on, man. I was just joking. Here, I will buy you another drink. I just can't stand seeing a young man cry." "No, it's not that," the young man said, wiping away his tears. "See, this has been the worst day of my life. First, as I overslept, I was late in office, which angered my boss, and he fired me. When I got my things and left the building to go home, I found my car was stolen. The police don't have a clue. So I got into a cab to go home, and when I got out, I remembered I had left my wallet and credit cards on the seat, and the cab driver just drove away. I went home and I found that my wife had left me. I walked out and came to this bar. And now while I'm sitting here thinking about putting an end to it all, you show up and drink my poison. Attempts of unwanted doing become dangerous. Page 13, The Story of Rose. On the first day of the college, our professor introduced himself and challenged us to get to know someone we didn't already know. I looked around when a gentle hand touched my shoulder. I turned around to find a wrinkled little old lady beaming up at me with a smile that lit up her entire face. She said, "Hi, handsome. My name is Rose. I'm 78 years young. Can I give you a hug?" I laughed and enthusiastically responded, "Of course you may," and she gave me a giant squeeze. "Why are you in college at such a young, innocent age?" I mischievously asked. She jokingly replied, "I'm here to meet a rich husband, get married, have a couple of kids, and then retire and travel." "No, seriously," I asked. I was curious what may have motivated her to be taking on this challenge at her age. She replied, "I always dreamt of having a college education, and now I'm getting one." After the class, we walked to the canteen and shared a chocolate milkshake. We became instant friends. Page 14, The Story of Rose continued. Every day for the next 3 months, we would leave class together and talk non-stop. I was always mesmerized listening to this time machine as she shared her wisdom and experience with me. Over the course of the year, Rose became a campus icon, and she easily made friends wherever she went. At the end of the year, we invited Rose to speak on our annual day. I'll never forget what she taught us. As she began to deliver her prepared speech, she dropped her few papers on the floor. Frustrated and a little embarrassed, she leaned into the microphone and simply said, "I'm sorry I'm so jittery. I'll never get my speech papers back in order, so let me just tell you what I know." She cleared her throat and began. "We do not stop playing because we are old. We grow old because we stop playing. There is only a little secret for staying young. We have to laugh and find humor every day. Everyone has got to have a dream. When we lose our dreams, we die. We have so many people walking around who are dead and don't even know it. There is a huge difference between growing older and growing up. If we are 19 years old and lie in bed for one full year and don't do one productive thing, we will turn 20 years old. Anybody can grow older. That doesn't take any talent or ability." Page 15. The Story of Rose continues. Nobody grows old by merely living a number of years. People grow old only by deserting their ideals. Years wrinkle the skin. To give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. Youth is not a time of life, it is a state of mind, it is a temper of the will. Youth is a quality of imagination, a vigor of emotion, a predominance of courage over timidity. Whether we are 17 or 70, there should always be unfailing childlike appetite for what is to come next. Let us play the game of life with joy. We are as young as our faith, as old as our doubt, as young as our self-confidence, as old as our fear. So long as our heart receives messages of beauty, cheer, courage and love, we are young. She concluded her speech by courageously singing. 1 week after graduation, Rose died peacefully in her sleep. Over 2,000 college students attended her funeral to pay tribute to the wonderful woman who taught by example. Growing old is mandatory. Growing up is optional. Page 16. The reply. David and John are planning to attend a religious service. David wonders whether it would be all right to smoke while praying. John replies, "Why don't you ask Father?" So David approaches the father and inquires, "Father, may I smoke while I pray?" The father says, "No, my son, you may not. That's utter disrespect to religion." David goes back to his friend and tells him what the good father told him. John says, "I'm not surprised. You asked the wrong question. Let me try." And so John goes up to the father and inquires, "Father, may I pray while I smoke?" To which father replies, "By all means, my son, by all means." Moral: the reply we get depends on the question we ask.